need to find out if this is using the right microphone. I don't have any idea if this will sound any good. Sorry if it doesn't. Blue snowball. Alright. Here we go. I think first stream of the new year? Yeah, I guess so, because today's the 8th. Right, because I didn't do that yet. That sounds so boring, modeling chunks of wood. A hammer. Oh. Okay, anyway. All right. Don't clap at the microphone. So tonight, I kind of have some other stuff that I need to get to. So I wanted to still do something because it's good to get out of my frame of. I have other things I need to get done, but I wanted to stream, so I'm going to do a hammer. Something kind of simple that maybe I can breeze through a little bit. That sounds horrible. I'm just a horrible person. It's fine. Okay, so anyway. What a solid intro. I don't even know why I'm thinking this is funny, but it's kind of funny to me. Okay, so we'll start with the shape, obviously. Top. Scale this down. I'm going to go with the... let's call it the Thor style hammer. Or a mallet style, I guess. Let's go to edge. Let's try to bevel all of these. Make it a little smoother. I'm gonna still do I'm still doing low poly. It's just I don't know. Sorry, I guess it's just been kind of a weird week. That's really all it is. And I got things that I'm working on, and this is... I sort of forgot that I was doing a stream tonight because I just changed my nights, and so just kind of out of sorts, I guess. But I think it's important, personally, to have more than one project going on at the same time. Not that this is, I mean, I wouldn't consider this a project. It's just something I'm putting together as a prop I might use in the future. I don't have any plans for it immediately. That is just to say that something. I don't know. You know what? We're going to take this... Where do we go here? Like this. Select none. None of the audio I've done so far is all that flattering or kind. So I'm just going to shut up now. I'm going to put my shovel down. Try to find a different way to dig out of this hole. Just pretend. It's also been a while since I've been in Blender. I've been working on, like I said, other projects, and I haven't had a chance to really model all that much. So it's kind of I don't know, jarring, I guess. It's not the right word either. Let's see here. Don't like it. Don't like it at all. Ugh, it's even worse. Well, let's go into Google Chrome. Warhammer. I guess I'm doing a fighting hammer. Apparently. Images. A combat hammer, I guess. So there's this one, which is got this big chunk in the middle, and it's got some... What would you call that? Some sort of extra weight. I don't know. I'm sure there's like a word for it if you're a hammer person. If you make hammers for a living, I'm sure there's a word for this. I don't know what it is though. The hitty part. And then there's this one. See, a lot of these are just... They're just sort of cubes. I guess that's okay. I guess we could do that. There's nothing wrong with doing just a cube. There's this one. Ooh, sledgehammer. Let's look at a sledgehammer. Yeah, this is pretty easy. Pretty basic, I should say. I don't know if it's going to be easy. But it's pretty basic. And I used to own a sledgehammer. Not that that's relevant at all to this stream or anything. Especially considering I did not plan to do a hammer. But there you go. I used to own a hammer. Sledgehammer. Why is that at all surprising? People own sledgehammers. It's not a surprising thing. Alright, so look at this center bit, and then let's just look at this. So essentially for the head, no, that's not what I want. Look at this one. This one's cool. Maybe it is. So essentially what's going on here is you have a box in the center, and you have, what is that, 3, 4, an octagon at the ends. You're sort of doing a conversion of that. Okay, so I think I know what I can do here. Select all, delete all of these faces. Shift A, believe this is going to be, let's see here. It's not quite a perfect cube. It's sort of elongated towards the is it though? This one is. I think usually it's right. Yeah, so if you look at this one's a little elongated, but that might just be the lens, the way it was shot. You look at these are cool looking. Just saying. But they're square, so we'll just go with square. Okay. And then Control R, because we don't need to do all of the work twice. Select none. There's no sense in that. Just delete these vertices, and then, oh, we already have a mirror modifier, so that's fine. Okay. Edge. So if we look at this, it's got sort of from here to here, sort of conversion point, and then from here on out, it is a sledgehammer. Now, in the case of modeling, if I was doing something higher poly, this would be pretty gradual. But since I'm doing a low poly model, I'll probably do something closer to this, where it's a very, I wouldn't say this is very sharp, but sharp enough. Ooh, is there a, okay. Let's scale. Out of curiosity, what if I just do this the way that I'm envisioning it in my mind? That's what happens. You get a sledgehammer. I gotta say, these, you know, there's something to be said about putting a bunch of time and effort and energy into something, but I just love these. I love solutions that require very little effort. Clever solutions, let's call them. I think those are sometimes my favorite, because then there's less worrying about the pieces and how they look, and you just go right into the tweaking and further design and all that stuff. I like that. So there you go. There's a sledgehammer head. How do I want to unwrap this? Well, first of all, let's connect these. Let's get rid of some quads. Did it? No, it didn't. Can I just select all? Control R. Nope, not going to do it. Okay. You stink. Oh well. Gotta, yeah. This is another one of those situations where I'm sure there's an easier way to do this, but I do this so little that it's not even really worth me looking up, to be honest. Let's take these faces. You got them all? Yeah, you do. Okay. Scale them up a little bit. Let's make the center a little bulbous. In fact, let's do a proportional edit. Scale it all out. That looks cool. There's that little extra oomph. You know what? Let's max it out here. Ooh. Yes. Yes, that's cool. L. Proportional off. I like that a lot. And then set that at 0. Because it looks more savage that way, because it's got all the weight in the back here. And this sort of comes to a point, but not really. I like it. Alright, so I guess what I want to do... Well, let's look at the sledgehammer. If you notice, these faces are not they're not continuous, because they have this line here, this wear line. So you could probably get away with hiding your seams that way, because I mean, these look like edges on a 3D model. This one not so much, because it's all the same color, but this one for sure. You got red, and then you got these black and silver lines on there. So let's go with that. I was watching the Blendo Games development stream. They're either working on a game called Skin Deep. I'm not up to date on what Blendo Games is doing right now, but so my apologies. But they are... Brendan Chung is streaming all of the development of whatever this is. He's doing a stream twice weekly called Skin Deep Development, and I think it's for a game, a specific game. I watched it today for the first time, and it's interesting because it's I'm not entirely sure why I find it interesting. It's interesting to see his workflow in particular, because he's a developer that I appreciate. I like Brendan Chung's work, and it's cool to see how he does stuff, and also it's interesting to see how close he is to my own work style. It's actually a little shocking to me, anyway. All right, I think that's his detail. I mean, that's good. So I could do a few things. I'm just gonna shout them out to see which one of them I think is coolest. Ultimately, I'm gonna apply this mirror modifier, and what I could do is either take this and then copy the UVs all the way around, so that it's basically this, and this. They're all the same texture. The other option I could do is do this and then this as one texture, and then do this and this as another texture. The upside to doing that is you get a little bit more variation, and the likelihood that somebody's... I mean, you can't really view more than 2 sides at a time anyway. So unless you're really picky about it, there's no way you would be able to tell. And then you could do the same thing here. Is just, these could actually... Okay, so here's what I think I'm going to do. These 4... Let's go to wireframe. These 4, I'm going to make the same texture. And then these 2 will be the same texture, and then these will be the same texture, and then this will be the same texture as the head part on the other side. And And now I'm wondering, should I just make it one texture? Yeah, I'll just make it one image. Make it easy. I mean, there's no reason to overcomplicate things. It's a friggin' hammer. It's not, we're not making a robot or anything here. This is not complicated. Let's keep it not complicated. Oh, but, another thing I learned was how to, maybe I did this last week. If so, well, I have forgotten already apparently, so maybe you have too. I learned that you can, I learned how to use Mark as, what do they call it? Mark, all right, so somewhere in here there is a function called Mark Sharp or something like that. And I finally learned how to use that. Like, actually use it, as opposed to just marking things sharp and then going, what the hell, it's not working. Which I suppose is the definition of not knowing how it works, isn't it? Okay, so Z wireframe. Those are the edges that I want. Do I want these? Let's see how this looks, and then I'll come back if that looks fine. So mark sharp. Okay, so that's what you do that, and then so you mark your sharp things, and then you go to add modifier and edge split. And I don't like the edge angle, so just get rid of it, and there you go. And essentially all it's doing is it's pretending that these are all separate meshes. Like you would get the same if I took this top plane here and I just disconnected it from the rest of the mesh so that the vertices are overlapping on all the meshes, but it's a separate mesh from the rest of it, you get the same effect. It's just doing that procedurally as opposed to permanently. Excuse me. Yeah, I think I want that to be sharp as well. Wireframe. This looks kind of cool with all the different lines and stuff. Mark sharp. Material. Yeah. I almost want to do these edges as sharp. Let's do it on one side, see how it looks. Mark sharp. Yeah, I think that works better. That looks much better. What about these? Should these be sharp? Yes, and also no. I don't know, on the one hand, it looks cool to have sort of a gradient there with the smoothing groups, but on the other hand, this looks cool too. We'll just leave it like this, and then we gotta do this edge with the mark sharp. We're good to go. We got our sledgehammer head. Now, I gotta make the stick. Sorry, I don't know why I think that's funny that I called it a stick. Like I'm incompetent, like I don't know what a friggin' sledgehammer is. This is not the right place to put it because it's going to be laying on its side, I think. Maybe? I don't know. Select all, Control T. How does that look? That change the look at all? No. Or if I do that and then I relax it. Oh, that looks stupid. Don't do that. Don't do that. Are there parameters for relax? Yeah, just iterations. There's one smooth. There we go. Has a little bit more control. Smoothing. No. That's enough of that. All right, so you know what? No, I'm gonna make it this way. Shift A, and we'll do a circle. And I like to work in, what is this, hexagon? Pentagon. Pentagon, I think. Shrink it down. And actually, let's shrink it back up again. And face. Rotate it on the Z-axis just to mess around with the symmetry of it or whatever. And then extrude on the Z-axis. So let's look at this thing again. It's significantly longer. What is that? Maybe that's 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, maybe 7. I don't really know. I'm super guessing because it's at a high angle. So, well, let's look at this one. That is not this is. That's not an image. That is also a 3D model. This is not helpful, people. I want an image. Let's try this one. Nope, that's the same one. Okay, so we got this. That seems a little long, but we'll go with it. I got 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10. Well, it's like, I don't know, 13 to 15 head widths down the handle. So let's just do, I thought at 10 that probably looked about right. It looks a little weird here, ultimately, is what I'm saying. So we're just going to go with the 8 to 10 thing. Shift D on the Z-axis. So that's 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10. Normalize that. All right, and it's not just excuse me. Let's grab one of these. It's not just a straight shape. So if you look at, go back to Google Chrome, you look at the fiberglass handle one. It's kind of got an indent in the center. I'm sure there's some sort of structural reason for that because it's got that plus this little divot there. For the wooden ones, the ones with wooden handles. Go back to this one. It's sort of like, it's hard to tell, but it kind of looks like it does the same thing, where it's a little bit wider on the top and then it tapers in. This one doesn't look like that. This one does. But even like a regular hammer, like this is a regular size hammer, this part is thinner than this part. Perhaps that's structural. You know, I'm not a hammer expert. Perhaps that's structural, or maybe it's just aesthetic. Maybe it's a trick of the eye. I do not know. But let's do the same thing, because it's the way I see it. And so that is the only thing that I can go by right now. Right. I want to see if I can get something interesting out of a randomized transform. That's not it, is it? Why did you do that? Being weird. Is it here maybe? Mesh. Sure. Yeah, not a fan. So anyway, let us first take this top, separate that, mark seam. I'll take this, Control E, mark that as a seam. Alright, so let's take this whole thing and we're going to unwrap it. That's not bad. What if I do this by itself? That's pretty good. Let's do, oh, right, we were going to do that. Okay. Delete these faces. Shift. So Shift S, selection to cursor. No, wrong way. Cursor to selected. That should put it in about the right spot. And then Shift D, rotate. Oh, that's not gonna work because to do this. Rotate on the x-axis 90 degrees. Shift D, rotate on the x-axis 90 degrees. Shift R. Do that again. So now let's take all of these. Shift D. Control M on the Z. No. Y-axis. No, that's not right either. There we go. Now they all share the exact same what's it. And then delete this face. UV is what I was trying to say. Shift D. Control M on the x-axis, I guess. No, that's not right. Grab, yeah. Let's grab all this. I'm sorry, is that showing? Have I just never noticed that before? Alt H, or is it doing something weird? No, I don't think it's doing anything weird. I've never noticed that it leaves the outline behind. That's so weird. Cool though. Very cool. All right, so now that we have this, we have more real estate, which means that W, remove doubles. We can grab these, scale them up. Actually, we should scale up everything. Otherwise, it's gonna look weird. Or do individual origins. And just trying to make everything look a little prettier. If I'm being honest, it's probably the least important part of how I do UVs, but I find it helps my state of mind when I'm doing textures, because then I can I have a better understanding of where stuff is. I don't have to jump back to the model and find out if I'm right about where it is. Should usually happen all the time. Just give it a little bit more space. Okay, so I think that what I'm going to do here is we're going to, well, let's name this, hammer underscore mesh. And then this is just hammer. Head UV. And then let's do another one. Stick UV. I don't know. I don't know. I don't know why I find that funny, but I do. Unwrap. Just do it like that. That seems fine. Should I do? Let's do sections. I think. That's not what I wanted. I think if we split it up, it'll make it easier in the long run. Plus, it will be a smaller UV map. I won't have to make a gigantic, oddly shaped UV map or texture. In theory, anyway. Didn't realize I did that. Let's shrink this. Let's shrink these all down a little bit, just so there's not any problem with inconsistent scaling on the texture. There we go. So now we have it. Oh, so there you go. Smooth. Let's mark these as sharp. Select none. Yeah, there we go. I may have messed these up. Or maybe it just shows both. Yeah, the stick one should not have any of these things. I mean, I guess maybe it doesn't make any difference. It's just sort of annoying, is all. Don't know. I suppose not important. What we're gonna do is make two materials. Head underscore That's not my naming convention. That's what we'll do. Head underscore material, stick underscore material. What we're gonna do is take all of this jazz and assign it there. And then we'll take all of this and assign that there. Select none. Select. Select. Alright, so they're separate. Good. So let's switch over to UV Image Editor. And we're going to make 2 images. I'm probably not going to get to actually making tonight, but we can put in some test stuff for future reference. Stick underscore BMP. Height, we'll do 512. This one we'll do, I guess I made it square, didn't I? So we'll do 512 by 512. And then generate just like a UV grid. It's probably fine. And let's save this as an image. No, we'll just do this. This is fine. Save as image. Let's make another one. Head underscore BMP. 256 by 256 seems reasonable. That's a UV grid as well. .3D view. So now what we want to do is make these image textures for the color. Head. There we go. Seems appropriately sized and shaped. It is, of course, broken up, but we were expecting that, and that's what we wanted. Let's take this. We're going to do the same thing, but we're going to attach it to a different image. Just for funsies, I want to see what it looks like if we put the head on there. Yeah, it's huge. They're huge. So if we double that with the stick BMP, actually, it's actually more in line. They're about the same size as this, and the image has a little bit of a curve to it because of the UVs, because of the way the UVs are situated. And I'm okay with that. I think that'll look good, particularly because this is going to be wood. This is, you know, wood is good. So let's save this as well. I'm going to switch over to Krita real quick, and let's open these things up. There we go. And I'm just going to add for the head. Oh, this is the handle. I'm just going to add a, let's see, brown color like that. This will work. Let's make it a little more brown though. Darken it, maybe just a little bit. That'll work. Okay. I'll just make this an overlay. Let's try multiply. That'll work better. All I'm trying to do here is have some color representation. That's really it. Just so we have an idea of how it might look, sort of, when it's actually textured. Nothing fancy. The head. I mean, I like the idea of the red. So we'll go with cayenne. Let's desaturate it a little bit. Darken it a little bit. It's starting to just look like brown, so maybe we should go with a different color. We could do some troubleshooting some other time. Make it sort of a slate. Let's look at this. Yeah, that'll work. Okay. Try that again. And I think we did multiply for the last one. Let's just try overlay again. It seems reasonable. Darken? That'll work. Dial back the opacity, though, so that it does barely anything. Obviously, save. Do the same thing. Save a creative file as well. Alt-R. Alt-R. There we go. And of course, the things that I would pay attention to, or will pay attention to, if I ever get back to texturing this, is the lines. The outlines of each of the UV islands will be important for the hammerhead, and then just the wood grain here. But unfortunately, I have to call it a night. So yeah, I will be back again next week. Maybe I'll work on this some more. Until then, have a good one. Save this real quick.